Thucydides was a Greek historian.
Right.
And he wrote the history of the Peloponnesian War.
Right.
Now, according to tradition and to Scaliger, because Scaliger fixed the date of the Peloponnesian War, the war started in 431 BC. How could he find out that? That's the question. Well, during the time of the war, so when the war started, there was a solar eclipse. And it was a total solar eclipse because Thucydides says he could see stars during the eclipse. Then he tells us that 7 years later there was another eclipse. The war, by the way, the war lasted 27 years. So 11 years after the second eclipse was a lunar eclipse. So a sequence of this kind happens very rarely in history. And we can compute back in time when that happened. Now, Scaliger fixed everything to 431 BC, so the beginning of the war, and after that historians started to construct history from here.
Right.
Connecting with so what happened in other documents, what was written in other documents, and so on. The trouble is that at the end of the 19th century, astronomers realized that the 431 BC eclipse was not total. It was a partial one.
Really?
Yes.
So that means...
It means that it couldn't have been 431 BC. We have two more solutions, and
yes,
mathematicians have found out that one of them is in the 11th century AD, and another one is in the 12th century AD. So this is much later than 431 BC, of course.
So cutting to the chase, did we have a Middle Ages? Did they happen?
Well, that's exactly what Anatoly Fomenko says, that there were no Middle Ages, that they are just an invention, that they just, were created artificially
yes,
by Scaliger and by his followers. You see, there are some contradictions that show up. For example, how could military history, so the military achievements that the Romans had, simply vanish in the Middle Ages? I mean, no matter who is the leader of a country, who is the king there, nobody would just forget to defend the country somehow. So where did they vanish for all this time? So you see, there are questions that are not history, traditional history doesn't answer. And that's why some people find Fomenko's theory very attractive. But as I said, I'm trying to be objective. I'm presenting both sides of the story.
As somebody said, it's a good Da Vinci's Code, but it's not fiction.
It's not fiction.
But it's like a detective story.
It is. However, it's not such an easy read as the Da Vinci Code. You have to make your way through the arguments.
I noticed. I noticed, because you have astronomers and mathematicians and historians, and for years they battled to find fixed points in the heaven, stars, planets, so we can date great events. And I think, well, who to believe?
But to explain this to you, I have to start from how history is constructed. So first, you have to fix some dates using astronomy. That's what Scaliger did. Now, once you fix a few dates, then you can connect the historical events from documents, from chronicles, among themselves, and build on that. That's how historians did construct everything. Now, the trouble is that today, historians don't do this anymore. Today, they consider the chronology as an axiom. They consider the chronology as their Bible, and everything what doesn't fit with the existing chronology, when they find a new document, when they interpret it, they simply discard.